The Book of Revelation has puzzled humanity for nearly 2,000 years. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if this ancient text isn't just about distant future events, but a sophisticated guide for understanding the very world we're living in today? Let's start with the monsters. Revelation describes three distinct beasts that most people dismiss as mythological creatures, but when we examine them closely, something remarkable emerges. The first is the dragon, Satan himself, described with 7 heads and 10 horns. This isn't just symbolic chaos. In ancient astronomical understanding, this represents the constellation Draco, the cosmic serpent that ancient civilizations knew influenced earthly power structures through celestial cycles. Then we have the beast from the sea, the Antichrist figure. 7 heads, 10 horns, body of a leopard, feet of a bear, mouth of a lion. This composite creature represents something we see clearly today: multinational power structures that combine different national characteristics into one overwhelming force. Think about how modern global institutions merge American technological power, European economic systems, and Asian manufacturing, all controlled by a central authority. The third beast emerges from the earth with 2 horns like a lamb but speaks like a dragon. This is the false prophet, and here's where it gets fascinating. This creature appears innocent, religious even, but its speech reveals its true nature. In our age of artificial intelligence and sophisticated propaganda, we're witnessing exactly this phenomenon. Systems that present themselves as helpful and benevolent, while manipulating public perception on a massive scale. But here's what most interpretations miss. Revelation contains astronomical codes that ancient readers would have recognized immediately. The woman clothed with the sun isn't just metaphor, it's the constellation Virgo. The 7 spirits correspond to the 7 classical planets. John was encoding actual celestial events that mark significant time periods in human history. The economic implications are staggering. The mark of the beast that prevents buying and selling without compliance. We're living this reality right now. Digital payment systems, social credit scores, financial surveillance, the infrastructure for complete economic control already exists. This wasn't ancient speculation, it was a precise description of how future civilizations would control populations through economic dependency. Consider the numerical patterns. The infamous 666 isn't just Nero's name in Hebrew gematria, it's part of a sophisticated mathematical structure throughout the text. The number 144,000 equals 12 times 12 times 1,000. Completeness multiplied by divine order multiplied by totality. The recurring time periods of 42 months, 1,260 days, and 3.5 years all equal the same duration, suggesting cyclical historical patterns rather than linear prophecy. The psychological dimension is equally profound. The Great Tribulation may describe not just external catastrophes, but the collective psychological crisis that precedes major evolutionary leaps in human consciousness. We're experiencing this now: widespread anxiety, information overload, the breakdown of traditional meaning systems. Environmental warnings fill the text. Judgments affecting 1/3 of the Earth, seas and freshwater sources perfectly parallel our current ecological crisis. These aren't supernatural punishments. They're the inevitable consequences of environmental destruction that any advanced civilization could predict. The technological parallels are undeniable. The image of the beast that can speak and kill those who won't worship it. We're building AI-controlled surveillance systems with exactly these capabilities. The ability to witness events worldwide simultaneously. Global telecommunications, weapons that can kill 1/3 of mankind. We've had those since 1945. Here's the real secret most people miss. Revelation isn't primarily about future events, it's about the eternal spiritual battle between different ways of organizing human civilization. It contrasts centralized control versus distributed freedom, materialistic empire versus spiritual community, fear-based compliance versus love-based cooperation. The end times may not refer to the end of the world, but to the end of current power structures when they become unsustainable. The second coming could represent the emergence of evolved human consciousness rather than a literal physical return. If we accept that current AI developments and global communication systems represent the fulfillment of these prophecies, what timeline are we looking at? The Bible explicitly states that no one knows the exact timing, but the technological acceleration suggests we're in a critical period. We're witnessing AI achieving human-level capability across multiple domains. Complete global surveillance infrastructure is already operational. Digital currency systems enable unprecedented economic control. Deepfake technology makes deception nearly undetectable. These aren't distant possibilities, they're current realities. The convergence is, well, quite remarkable. For the first time in human history, the technological capability exists for a small group to monitor, control, and manipulate the entire global population through economic, informational, and psychological means. This matches Revelation's descriptions with honestly startling precision. But here's the hope embedded in the text. Every empire eventually becomes Babylon and must be resisted. The Lamb conquers through apparent weakness. Love, sacrifice, and truth ultimately overcome force and deception. The new heaven and new earth represents not escape from this world, but its transformation through evolved consciousness. Revelation functions as, an encoded manual for navigating major civilizational transitions. Its predictions reveal the inevitable consequences of collective choices rather than predetermined fate. The text shows us patterns, how power corrupts, how technology can liberate or enslave, how spiritual principles ultimately determine material outcomes. We may be living through the very transition Revelation describes, not as passive victims of prophetic destiny, but as conscious participants in humanity's greatest transformation. The question isn't whether these events will happen, but whether we'll choose the path of the Lamb or the beast, love or fear, wisdom or folly. The revelation continues to unfold, and we are both its witnesses and its authors. The choice, as always, remains ours.